Hey everyone, I hope you're all staying healthy and good. Today, I'm going to live stream publicly from our internal town hall because I was planning to share some updates with all of you, our team, on that I think our broader community is going to be interested in as well. So for everyone who's joining us on the live stream publicly as well as internally, thanks for tuning in. So with everything going on, about 3 weeks ago, I committed to reviewing our policies ahead of the 2020 elections. And that work continues and it's ongoing. But today, I want to share some new policies that we're putting in place and adopting to connect people with authoritative information about voting, to crack down on voter suppression, and to fight hate speech. And the 2020 elections were already shaping up to be incredibly heated. And that was before we all faced the additional complexities of a global pandemic and protests for racial justice across the country. So we're in a period now where there's a risk of very serious confusion and fear. And during this moment, Facebook will take extra precautions to help everyone stay safe, stay informed, and ultimately to use their voice where it matters the most, which is voting. So many of the changes that we're going to announce today come directly from feedback and discussions that we've had with the civil rights community. They reflect months of work with our civil rights auditors, led by noted civil liberties and civil rights expert Laura Murphy and Megan Casey, a partner at the respected civil rights law firm Relman and Colfax. Facebook stands for giving people a voice, and that especially means people who have previously not had as much voice or as much power to share their own experiences. And it's really important that we make sure that our platforms live up to these principles. So I'm going to walk through a few of the changes that we're making. The first is around providing authoritative information on voting during a pandemic. Now, last week, we announced the largest information campaign on voting in American history, with the goal of helping 4 million people to register to vote. And as part of this, we announced that we're creating a voting information center to share authoritative information on how and when you can vote. And that includes information on voter registration, voting by mail, and early voting. And during a pandemic, when a lot of people may be afraid of going to the polls, getting out the word and authoritative information on voting by mail is going to be especially important. So we're going to be showing the Voting Information Center at the top of Facebook and the Instagram apps over the coming months. Now, in the midst of COVID, we're also very focused on preventing new forms of potential voting suppression. So, for example, if someone says on election day that a city has been identified as a COVID hotspot, there's a real question: is that voter suppression, or is that simply sharing health information? And because of the difficulty of judging this at scale, we're adopting a policy of attaching a link to our Voting Information Center for posts that our systems find that are discussing voting, including posts that come from politicians. So this isn't going to be a judgment of whether the posts themselves are accurate, but we want to make sure that people have access to authoritative information either way. Now, we're also going to take additional steps to make sure that we can fight voter suppression. In 2018, we updated our policies to ban any content that misleads people on when or how they can vote. And now we're going to tighten these policies to reflect the realities that we're seeing leading up to the 2020 elections. Now, since the most dangerous voter suppression campaigns can often be local and run in the days immediately before an election, we're going to use are elections operations centers, which we've stood up, to quickly respond and remove false claims about polling conditions in the 72 hours leading up to Election Day. And drawing on our experience and what we've learned fighting COVID misinformation, we're going to be partnering with and relying on state election authorities to help determine the accuracy of this information and what is potentially dangerous. And we know that this is going to be challenging in practice, since facts on the ground can be uncertain, they can change quickly, and of course we don't want to remove accurate information about challenges that people are experiencing. But we're going to invest in building up our operation, which is already substantial, in order to make sure that we're able to respond quickly here. We're also going to be banning posts that make false claims, like saying that ICE agents are going to be checking immigration papers at polling places, which that's a tactic that sometimes people use to discourage voting. We're also going to remove any threats of coordinated interference, like someone saying, hey, my friends and I are going to be doing our own monitoring of the polls to make sure that only the right people vote, which of course can be used to intimidate voters. We're also going to continue to review our voter suppression policies on an ongoing basis as part of our continued work on voter engagement and racial justice. Now, next, we're also focused on creating a higher standard for hateful content in ads. Now, there was a study out of the European Union this week that I don't know if you saw that showed that Facebook acts faster and removes a greater percentage of the hate speech on our services than other major internet platforms, including YouTube and Twitter. And this is the result of investing heavily in both AI systems and human review teams, so that now we're able to identify almost 90% of the hate speech that we remove before anyone even has to report it to us. We've also set the standard in our industry by publishing regular transparency reports so people can continue to hold us accountable for our progress. And we're going to continue investing in this work. We've already invested billions of dollars, and we have tens of thousands of people working on this, and we will commit whatever resources are necessary to improving our enforcement here. Now, we believe that there is a public interest in allowing a wider range of free expression in people's posts than in paid ads. And we already restrict certain types of content in ads that we would allow in regular posts. But we want to do more here to prohibit the kind of divisive and inflammatory rhetoric that has been used to sow discord. So today, we're adopting some new policies to prohibit a wider category of hateful content in ads. Specifically, we're going to be expanding our ads policy to prohibit claims that people from a specific race or a specific ethnicity or national origin or religious affiliation or caste or sexual orientation or gender identity or immigration status, any claim that they are a threat to the physical safety or health or survival of anyone else. And we're also changing our policies to better protect immigrants, migrants, refugees, and asylum seekers from ads that suggest that these groups are somehow inferior, or ads that are expressing contempt or dismissal or disgust directed at them. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to start labeling content that we find newsworthy, that might otherwise violate our policies. A handful of times a year, we make a decision to leave up content that would otherwise violate our policies because we consider that the public interest value outweighs the risk of that content. And often here, seeing speech from politicians is in the public interest. And in the same way that news outlets will often report what a politician says, we think it's important that people should generally be able to see it for themselves on our platforms too. So we will start soon labeling some of the content that we leave up because it is deemed newsworthy. So now people are going to be able to know when that designation has been made. We're still going to allow people to share this content in order to condemn it, just like we do with other problematic content, because this is an important part of how we discuss what is acceptable in our society. But we're going to add a prompt to tell people that the content that they're sharing may violate their policies, our policies. Now, to clarify one point on this that I know a lot of people have asked about, there's no newsworthy exemption to content that incites violence or suppresses voting. Even if a politician or government official says it, if we determine the content may lead to violence or deprive people of their right to vote, we're going to take that content down no matter who says it. And similarly, there are no exceptions for politicians in any of the policies that I'm announcing here today. So, overall, the policies that we're implementing today are designed to address the reality and the challenges that our country is facing, and how these challenges are showing up across our platform and our community. I am committed to making sure that Facebook remains a place where people can use their voice to discuss important issues, because I really believe that we make more progress together when we can hear each other's perspectives. But I also stand against hate or anything that incites violence or suppresses voting. And we're committing to removing that content too, no matter where it comes from. We're going to continue reviewing our policies and looking at more ideas. And we're going to keep on working with outside experts and civil rights organizations to continue to adjust our approach as new risks inevitably emerge over time. But overall, I am optimistic that we're going to be able to make progress on these challenges. We're going to be able to make progress on public health. I think we're going to be able to make progress on racial justice. And I think we're going to be able to do that while maintaining our democratic traditions around free expression and voting. And I'm committed to making sure that Facebook is a force for good on this journey. All right. So thank you for tuning in. That's the part that I wanted to live stream and share with our public community this morning. So I'm going to end the live stream now so I can talk about a number of other internal topics with our team. But I hope all of you out there stay healthy and good, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all soon.